Hello everyone! Great news for my open source Scanvus project. You can now perform vulnerability checks on Linux hosts and Docker images, not only using the vulners.com API, but also with vulns.io VM API. It is especially nice that all the code to support the new API was written and contributed by colleagues from vulns.io. I just had to do the final test. Many thanks to them for this. So how can the support of these two APIs in Scanvus be useful? Now there is no binding to one vendor. Choose which service and price you prefer. The set of supported operating systems varies between vulners.com and vulns.io. If a particular Linux distribution is not supported by one vendor, it may be supported by another vendor. Vulners and vulns.io implemented vulnerability checks independently of each other. If the results differ when scanning the same host or image, then implementation errors will be clearly visible. Scanvus is released under the MIT license, so you can use it as an example of working with the vulners.com and vulns.io APIs and use this code in your projects. How to use it? Basically, everything works exactly the same. You only need to specify the API you want to use in the audit service parameter. This can be vulners default or vulns.io. To begin, I scanned my localhost. This is a completely updated Ubuntu host. Vulners and vulns.io didn't detect security bulletin vulnerabilities there, and this is correct. Vulners did not detect any vulnerabilities at all, and vulns.io detected some vulnerabilities. Why? Because vulners and vulns.io work differently. Vulners only detects vulnerability mentioned in bulletins, while vulns.io also shows vulnerabilities for which there are no bulletins and patches that fix the vulnerability. Such vulnerabilities are grouped by severity with no advisory instead of a bulletin identifier. Whether you want to see vulnerabilities that you can't fix yet is up to you. Next, I scanned a test unpatched Debian 11 host. In this case, vulnerabilities related to security bulletins were detected, and there are not many of them, so the reports can be easily analyzed manually. And we can see that the APIs returned different detection results for the DSA-DLA bulletins. The intersection of the sets is empty. At the same time, proofs look convincing at first glance. In this episode, I won't go into why there is such a difference in Debian vulnerability detection results. Perhaps the answer is in the operation of the API, and perhaps in the collection of data from the host. I think we will solve this with colleagues from vulners and vulns.io. I'm just pointing out again that vulnerability detection is not that easy, and it's good when you can use several independent detection engines and compare the results. Next, I checked the vulnerabilities for the Docker image. It is also based on Debian 11. In this case, more vulnerabilities were detected. We can also see a big difference in the results, but there is already some intersection of the sets. We can look at one bulletin that was detected by two APIs. As you can see from the proofs, the detection criteria are the same, and this is good. I would also like to draw attention to the different values of the criticality level for the bulletin. Debian doesn't provide a criticality level. Apparently it is calculated by the vendors based on CVSS, but in different ways. So, what's next? As we can see, support for the vulners.com and vulns.io APIs in Scanvus opens up new opportunities for testing the correctness of the detection for all supported Linux distributions. Currently, support for the vulners.com API and support for the vulns.io API are implemented equally, but they are implemented independently. The bash inventory script for each of the APIs are different. Two independent reporting functions are also used. It seems right to unify the inventory script so that the same inventory results can be checked with vulners.com and vulns.io. It also seems right to create a single format for presenting detection results and convert raw results from APIs into this format. This format could be used for reporting and further integrations. In this way, it will be possible to test the scheme for adding new APIs to Scanvus. And that's it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye!